Hey guys, you ready for a bit of a chat about 0 by 16? I'm ready for a chat about 0 by 16. So I'm going to outline some of my issues that I'm having with 0 by 16 and kind of explain how it's all going for me. So I started 0 by 16 early, luckily. I figured it out around January 15th. So I probably had a jump on quite a few people. I know quite a few people have joined later than that, and good luck to you. When I started the year, I had 74 books on my TBR that I hadn't read, and a lot of those books were historical books, if you know what I mean. They were books that had been there for a long time, sort of 4 years or more. And I thought, do you know what, this is a really good opportunity because I bought these books for a reason, and clearly I thought I was going to enjoy them when I bought them. And I should try and read them. And I am having a few issues with it, to be perfectly honest. It's something I still want to try and do. It's something that I feel like I've committed to. I know I'm not that far through the year, 4 months in, basically. So, you know, a third of the way there, basically, which is kind of crazy. And I've got 50 books left. And I'm pretty proud of that. I think that's pretty good. And it's pretty much in keeping with how many books I need to read to finish off. Slightly under, but whatever, we'll figure it out. But I've had some significant problems with it whilst I've been going along. And the first is the pressure that I'm putting myself under with 0 by 16. I love reading, don't get me wrong, I love reading pretty much as I love anything. And I get completely lost in books and characters and stories, and I've always loved it. I've always loved reading. But I have found that I feel as though I have to read, that I feel as though I can't do anything else, and it has got to the point where I've given up a lot of my other hobbies in order to keep reading, to try and meet this goal. I make things quite a lot. I knit and I crochet things, and I've hardly done any of that this year because it's not something you can do whilst reading. It's something that I do whilst watching TV, and I've massively limited the amount of TV I'm watching because I'm reading so much. So I haven't really done any of that, and that's a bit sad for me. I really enjoy it, and I like having things that I'm making. It makes me feel sort of creative and having a purpose with that. And the other thing it's limited me with is I write. So I write horror short stories, and I write novels for young adults. And I have this problem with my writing and reading. So I can't be reading a book at the same time as I'm writing. And when I'm writing, I'm in it, and I'm doing it for hours every day. And TBR challenges don't work with that. So I've barely written this year. I tend to, when I'm writing, pick up styles from books that I'm reading. And as you read a piece of work I've done, you see the style change and directional changes as I've been influenced by the books I'm reading. That's not a bad thing. It's a good thing to when you're writing, be picking up things from people that you admire and that you'd aspire to be like. But it does mean that my writing isn't mine, and to an extent I am mimicking those that I'm enjoying reading, and I don't want to be doing that. I want to have my own style. So yeah, that's been something that I have really missed actually in the last 4 months, is being able to sit down and lose myself in my writing. And I kind of feel like I'm restricted to not being able to do that till 2016. That feels really odd to me. And to be honest, it puts me under more pressure. It makes me want to finish 0 by 16 quicker so that I can write. And I don't think that's what this was designed to do. I needed to address my TBR in some way. I needed to get the habit of buying books because I'm excited about reading and excited about reading those books, and to get rid of the habit of buying them just because, and not because I was going to sit down and actually read them straight away, but because they seemed interesting and exciting, and I like having things. And a lot of people like having things, and not a lot of people say that. I like to look at the things that I have, and that's materialistic and silly, and having things without touching them or it's ridiculous, and it's a waste of money. So I needed to do something to mean that I was appreciating the books I was buying, and I wasn't spending so much of my money each month on books. I spent in 2014 about £100 a month on books, and that's a lot of money when you can't read them all. It was something I realised when I was very young actually, that I'd never be able to read all the books there were, and it was a bit of a pivotal moment for me. I still remember it. I was probably about 8, and it made me so sad because when I was a kid I read all the books in my primary school. I read everything that they had, and when I got to secondary school I read the entire children's section of the library. And then I looked at the sort of adult section that was there, you know, young adult and adult, and I realised I couldn't do it, and it sort of dawned on me, so maybe I was a little bit old, maybe I was 10, that I couldn't ever read all the books that I wanted to read. And I had to be really careful because life's a limited thing and I want to enjoy what I'm reading. And I think I got away from that somehow, and I just wanted to be able to read more than actually I can. And what I used to do, what's a very bad habit that I've tried really hard to stop, and actually I haven't done it in 2015, and I really hope I don't, is when I'm having a bit of a rubbish day or I want to treat myself, I'll go to a discount bookshop and I'll buy whatever books sound vaguely interesting to me because they're really cheap. They're sort of £1 each, and you think, oh well, I can't really lose, can I? You know, it's £1. If I lose £1, what's that? I'd lose £1 in my pocket. It's not too big a deal. So you spend £15–20, but you get days of books, and some of them are really crap because discounted books often are the books that people don't want to buy, or they're books that haven't been so well received for whatever reason. So I have piles of books that haven't been well received that I've bought that I don't want to just do nothing with. I do want to read them because I feel like I should, and I feel like I owe it to the authors in case there's a few that surprise me. And as I've done 0 by 16, I've found a fair few that have surprised me. Surface Rights, that I talked about in my last video, massively surprised me, and I really love that book. But the majority don't. The majority are just meh. And I want to be reading better books. I want to be able to read books that are going to change my life, or are going to I'm going to fly through and I'm going to love. And I don't want to be reading books that are just meh. It's not worth it. But what I don't want to do is to go upstairs and to discount all the books I have. Because like I said, I can be surprised by them. And I feel as though in purchasing those books, I owe something to the author to at least try the work that they've spent years working on. And I do appreciate how long it takes to write something and how hard it is when people won't read, for whatever reason, the work that you have. And it sucks to know that someone might buy it and not even bother reading it. They might just throw it away without even touching a word of all that hard effort. So I feel as though I deserve to, you know, the authors deserve to have their work written. But it is difficult, sort of determining what's worth reading and what's not. And I think when I've done 0 by 16, because I fully intend on completing it, even if I do have some issues, I will buy books that I know I'm going to enjoy, and I will buy books that might challenge me a little more, but I still think are going to be my kind of thing. I'm not going to push myself so hard to read books that are just okay, because it's not that enjoyable, to be perfectly honest. It's not why I read. I read because I want to get completely lost and completely caught up. The book I'm reading at the minute, for example, is The Time Traveller by H.G. Wells, or The Time Machine, I think, by H.G. Wells. It's amazing, and I've not finished it. It's a tiny book, but I'm only sort of 30 pages in, but it's absolutely amazing. The writing's amazing, and the characters are beautiful, and the story's really engaging, and I could easily have missed out on that book because I'm reading other things that just are okay. It's hard for me. I really want to know if you guys have had similar issues with 0 by 16, and whether or not you think it's still worth continuing on with 0 by 16 with the feelings that I'm having around it. I'm very torn. I want to finish it because I've started it, but equally I can see it's having negative impact on things, and I don't want it to. I want it to be fun. So that's my ramble, my little bit of a rant. Feel free to comment down below, and please do let me know how you're getting on and if you've felt something similar, because at the minute I kind of feel a bit alone in this. Okay, bye bye.